Good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm Nobody, your storyteller, your narrator, and your number one fan. And this is Lost Wages Second Chances. Tonight's episode is entitled Anything You Can Find. And once again, from the very bottom of our minds, the top of our hearts, and every space in between, thank you all for your time, your energies, your efforts. And we hope you enjoy the shenanigans that this particular coterie and group of players gets up to. Thank you. And once more, from the top, good evening, everybody. How we doing?
I'm doing fairly well. Having to enjoy a bit of stimulant to keep myself fully running, but we're here.
I fell down a 2000s music rabbit hole.
Oh no.
I mean, there are worse rabbit holes.
Yeah, like the electro swing rabbit hole that I went on. That was certainly an experience.
All right.
Still worse rabbit holes.
Definitely so.
Mileage may vary, and I wish you all the best of luck with your particular music variations and sojourns down various holes, as it were. I hope you find the gold you were looking for. But in more directly proportional, thank you all for being here as always. And for those not paying too much attention, this is actually Lost Wages Second Chances. This is our Las Vegas sojourn into the world of these particular dark thoughts and activities. While we forewent the ice breaking and getting to know one another, and as always, the questions are standing. What, if any, questions do we have? What questions are preeminent? And as that is usually met with a overwhelming silence of the audience, the viewers and the listeners, we're going to change things up a little bit. While that question on my part is standing for everyone, we're going to do something a little different. Starting in alphabetical order, we will disclose one plot or plan of the following character. In character, of course. So, for instance, if we were to pick up with my former Las Vegas character, a Bud, who was a psychoanalyst who busied himself with trying to ease and aid the elders and their children with coming to grips with the night. It is forever. It is an understanding that this is your new permanent. While you will have other nights, they will all be the same as this one. So it's best for you to understand that this moment, you must make it the best possible for you and what matters to you. Because at the end of the time here, end of your existence, that's all that it will ever be. Hours will pass with us conversating, but for you, moments later, it will be a new night, which is the same night. So, basically, riff in your character in regards to what they understand of the character immediately next alphabetical. So, taking a quick glance here, we have in order, sorry, screen froze. We have Eugene, Fancy, Lucille, Morgan, but we're going to skip Morgan and it will be Martha, then Morgan, then Ryan.
So, just to clarify, I'm to disclose a plan of mine to the person next to me.
a plan that you've perceived or a detail you've perceived of the character that follows beneath you. For instance,
All right.
As Bud, I'd say what I've discovered of Victoria is that her extraordinary levels of wealth and taste are only a mask to the small person who doesn't want to feel small ever again. It could be a bit of a reach, but I don't think that I'm that far off base. The poise, the elegance, the training that is clearly academic in nature and not something that she was born with leads me to believe that somewhere beneath all of that veneer, all of that poise, makeup, and coiffing done to the hair, there is some small person who was born with not a lot of money. Someone who was born with the idea that money made the person. I believe her plan is to find the best way to profit from what knowledge she is gaining.
Mm-hmm. That's a good assessment. I don't necessarily know if it's too true.
Doesn't have to be. It's what the character would notice or what the character believes is the case.
Absolutely. Well then. I believe you said it was Fancy up next, right?
Eugene, Fancy.
Oh, Eugene then Fancy.
Eugene, Fancy, Martha, Morgan, Orion.
Alright, well, Eugene, have at it. It's your stage.
For Eugene, he's definitely thinking that he needs to acquire some level of power and notability so that these situations don't continually happen to him.
Oh, no.
You know.
Real quick. I believe it's supposed to be something you've perceived of the person ahead of you's plan. So what is it? What is something that you've gleaned about Fancy Fisher and her goals?
Fancy, huh? Since we just met and ran across each other, I don't have as much as I would like. But I'm thinking she's trying to hopefully continue running her business and keeping as many of these possible cops out of her hair. And that's the best way to do it, is to what we can do with these boxes and these notes. That's what he gleaned so far.
Okay. Alright. And then Fancy.
Okay. So, the short amount of time this evening, or that evening, that Nancy would have run into Martha and got to know them, something that seems as a goal for Martha is to get themselves out of the hole that they may have dug themselves by killing a human that belongs to another kindred and going back to flying under the radar and not being of notice. That would be Nancy's guess about Martha.
Alright.
So, am I doing Morgan?
Yes. Yes, you are.
She's trying to figure out why her shop was attacked by, I believe it was Kindred. And they were after some sports memorabilia. But I'm not sure I'm remembering much of the story.
Sports memorabilia is in fact what we were told in character.
Yes, that is accurate.
Alright.
Morgan.
Right? Okay. So she's actually known Ryan for a while, so but her like biggest question that she's just like, I know we have like this business relationship going, but like why the fuck do you actually want these things? Like they're super trivial and they mean like nothing. Like I'm buying them for like $100 and selling them for like $3. It is like literally nothing. But apparently he's just like, oh hey, this is super cool. I want it. What the fuck?
And as for Ryan, especially on the Eugene, at least on screen, we've not had much time to communicate about our goals and such, but strictly from what I know about the character and about what I'm pulling from the Miro board, I get the overall impression that Eugene has a massive problem with the current Putinesca setup, the Hecata within this place, and may even be trying to muscle in on control of the Venetian, which is headed by one of their members. I'm gathering this due to his connection to some of the Nosferatu, and more specifically the Sheriff, and how the Don is enemies with another of his connections over here with the Prince of Prem, Nevada. So that is two princes who are enemies of the Don, who Eugene has positive relations with, who I imagine he's done work for, and a lot of the party is connected in some part to the Venetian Hotel in one way or another. So that's kind of one of the assumptions that Ryan has made about Eugene, and might be a potential long-term goal for him.
That is not entirely off base for anyone thus far. Thank you all for riffing in character and getting a small communicated understanding of what the character understands. This little game of ours, this little hobby of ours, gives us the opportunity to step away for a moment, for a few moments. And even as we are stepping away and diving into this dark mirror of our own existences and the worlds and knowledges that we've managed to absorb, it does require a little bit of fuel, a little bit of energy from our troop, from our fellow players. It does require a little bit of enjoying the other aspect of the story. At least that way we're able to give back, and we're able to replenish each other's batteries, and we're able to buckle in for the long haul. It's a testament of respect for the other players and the efforts as they try to embody all of these fantastical situations these characters are in. So thank you all for that. And with that sitting there before us, with these understandings in character of what the characters perceive of the other members of this coterie, of the other members of this troupe, Las Vegas, like every other city, is a city unto itself. Las Vegas, unlike other cities, is 100% dependent on water. It's not in any obvious way. It's not in any, like, people are selling water for exorbitant prices. There's no price gouging of that sort. But staying hydrated, attending to the thirst, is a measure of survival that everyone grows accustomed to. Everyone has water or drinks or flask or the combination of the two when they're out and about. The heat of the daytime desert is not to be ever underestimated. Many of the people, even during the cooler night hours, that find themselves over a barrel in Las Vegas happen because they don't tend to their thirst. They don't ensure their satiation. And by extension, those same precautions are necessary for various entities, various corporations, and businesses, and especially the kindred, tending to your thirst, ensuring that the efforts and exertions of the promise of living forever don't cause you to simply expire due to exhaustion. When we last left our coterie, they had gathered at the Fisher Academy. They had begun discussing some of the insane things that had been happening to them, what had come across their plates, and what had entered into their circle of understanding as to what was happening out there in the night. Right, wrong, indifference, perceptions aside, it has been a whirlwind of this, that, and the other. From the ending of a very long life to the understanding as to how deeply the darkness is ingrained and meshed with the society around each of them, to understanding how very far other individuals might go to obtain a satiation of their thirst, their needs, their wants. It has been a night, and we've only reached the halfway point. There are still at least 6 hours of night left. It's not far before or just after midnight. The world itself around them should be cooler. The world shouldn't be the pressure boiler that it is. And yet, outside, arriving en masse, a large, dark vehicle filled with men and women with guns and intentions, dressed in the oh so recognizable SWAT gear of LVPD, not the Sheriff's Department, but the Las Vegas Police Department, not the Henderson, not the Paradise City, not the Spring Valley or Southwest Police Department, not even the Green Valley Police Department, but the Las Vegas Police Department. There's seconds, moments to make decisions and to take action. So we dive into that pressure cooker of a moment as they realize that forces are amassing out front, that entities with intentions are on their way. What, if anything, does the coterie do?
Just kind of very quickly, Badger and Fancy, just, do you have a way out of here that might not necessarily be too publicly known? And for my own edification, nobody, what was the name of the county that this SWAT team is assigned to? I know you had mentioned it, and I'm sorry, I was trying to find where we are on the map at the time.
The Las Vegas Police Department, not the sheriffs, which normally when moving entities from one place to another, and when there has to be a near militaristic action, is typically the sheriff's department that handles such things. They have a wider reach and they have a larger budget. The Las Vegas Police Department SWAT team isn't known for its tactical efficiency nor its endless pockets. It's well maintained, yet there are more SWAT members part of the county, part of the Sheriff's Department, than for Las Vegas PD itself. Because Las Vegas is broken down into several different districts. There's Centennial, North Las Vegas, Sunrise, Whitney, Green Valley, Henderson. Even Anthem is rolled into that southeastern portion of the Las Vegas area. There's also the southwest portion along with Summerlin as well. Now the thing with that is that each of those areas or geographic areas have their own precincts and their hub, and you'll see the small differences in the uniform. Las Vegas PD is typically the front-facing aspect of it, but each of those particular areas has their own demarcations, letting you know, okay, well, that person is part of the Green Valley Henderson area, so I'm mostly okay as long as I stay over here in Centennial, or that person's clearly from the Sunrise District, so as long as I hang out downtown or over in the lakes, I'll be mostly okay. I'll be outside of their reach. Yet here is LVPD stacking up, loading up, and preparing to make themselves known.
Gotcha. And which of these districts is her school set in? Over here on the lovely map.
Give me one quick second here. Where are you? Where are you? That's Lita. We don't need Lita. We don't need that. There we go. Alright. You guys are in... Oh no, that's the Jones Dispensary. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. You guys are over in basically the lakes area.
Oh, basically the lakes. Gotcha.
You're not far from the Suncoast Hotel or the West Sahara area. There's the Ice Center about 3 miles away from where you are. And then if you take Charleston straight west, you'll run into the Red Rock Casino, which is one of the further out but also nicer casino resorts. There's all the golf courses out that way as well, along with, camping grounds and the more off the beaten path touristy areas.
Okay. Alrighty. That gives me a much better understanding of where we are. Basically the lakes area. Okay, thank you. But yeah, as Ryan is just kind of hurriedly urging her to speak, we need to get out of here as soon as possible because I don't know about you, but I don't like the idea of fucking with the SWAT. Especially given that it's very odd that this particular brand of SWAT is coming in.
Here, she would look at him. No shit, obviously. I need to get the fuck out of here. So she grabs what she had in her hand and anything else she might have been able to.
Okay.
Her copy and the other copy, shoving it into a tote bag that she throws over her shoulder. Only way out is the side door. I don't have a back door. Let's go. Follow them out quick as you can. And she's practically like shoving everybody out of her office and out of the door.
Yeah. Ryan, having no express interest or express interactions with the SWAT as we discussed prior, I do have to question whether or not Two Dots and Streetwise would see me through this.
In regards to...
whether or not by this point, if the SWAT generally has the entire fucking building surrounded.
That'd be a little difficult. Because while, yes, Fancy's Academy, the Fisher Academy is right there off of Charleston, for lack of a better word, while they're on Charleston, there's no parking on Charleston. Charleston is really 159, so it's a major thoroughfare. There's lots of activity, a high street motion and presences at most hours of the day and night. So what the SWAT team did was circle around and approach through the effective parking lot. So the front door of the academy is on a access road which leads off of Charleston. The road isn't really a road, it's really a driveway, but because it's wide enough for traffic, 2 cars in both direction, in and out, it is fairly substantial. So they were able to approach from the access road, make their way around the parking lot, and pull up at the front. The side door for the academy is actually facing Charleston. Lots of foot traffic, lots of cars moving by. There's a red light camera there where the 6 lanes of traffic merge down into 4. It's across the median, there's a bus stop where everyone who's lost their money or otherwise found themselves in need of public transportation typically wait, which is a problem because, well, the public transportation typically stops about 10.
Alright, gotcha. Thank God for tourism and poor city planning. Alright, well then he'll just follow along with her. Getting out of here as soon as possible, especially through a side exit, is definitely the idea.
Okay. Do my heightened senses notice anything about what the cops are doing, like vis-a-vis trying to surround us?
As you all are inside, stretching your senses that far, let's see how effective you are. What's Martha's stamina? How many dots of stamina does she have?
Oh god, you're gonna get what Joji got.
I believe 3. Let me check that. Yeah, 3.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wit plus aspects as high as you can?
Okay, that's not an awesome roll, but
Do it. Let the beast flow through you. Well, while we're waiting on that, Eugene, what are you up to? I see.
Eugene is going to spend some energy closing those open wounds that, that clearly is notating him as possibly something of interest.
Excellent. Go ahead and make
Smart.
your rouse rolls.
Are you also gonna start stripping to get the blood-covered cloth off you?
Yeah, probably. Or at least finding something to use to cover.
You're going to be walking out of this in a nice, pretty red dress. Did you forget where we were?
Hey,
can't
you
wait to
gotta
see
do what you gotta do.
now.
There's enough show people here.
I cannot wait to see Eugene in a bodice.
I mean, there's male dancers too. It's fine.
Look, you
It's
all
just
crack jokes
Nicely,
whenever
it's hard.
you all crack jokes whenever I was talking about walking around in platform heels. Alright, let me get this.
I mean, as long as they're dancer heels, they're fine.
That is true. Ooh, that's gnarly.
This dice roller hates me, I swear.
Well, thankfully with this particular roll, I'm not sure if that's actually like a straight failure or if that's just a hunger increase.
That is unfortunate. Is what that is. It also is not necessarily the correct syntax. All you have to do is just roll 1d and either succeed or not. It's a pass fail for your rouse roll. So, luckily for you, your misstep in syntax does not provide you with a bestial response to the mending of your flesh. But we will take that as a failure and just call it a day versus having you re-roll several times.
I'm trying to find a different dice roller. Give me a second, because I'm not using that one anymore.
The fucking second die that you rolled was still a failure too. That was great. Oh my lord.
I'm gonna find me a dice roller that doesn't suck.
Yeah, that's the only dice roller. That's the only dice roller we have, but it's not the dice roller. It's just a probability, and these things happen, unfortunately. Fate.
I apologize, but
Fate does not like Eugene at the moment. We'll count each of those as his attempt to heal completely and remove all of the damage to mend all of the damage to his being. Unfortunately, and here's the thing, with those 3 failures, his hunger does in fact increase. Where was his hunger to begin with?
Well, he put 2 hunger on there.
2.
And what is Eugene's composure? And while we consider that, while we find the underpinnings of Eugene's mental, emotional state, not his stamina. Physically, it is another matter entirely. Every kindred is far more hardy than looks would otherwise declare. Unfortunately, emotionally and spiritually, they can oftentimes be far more lacking than it would seem. That hearty smile and that cold, calm reserve is oftentimes just a facade. It's often just a mask. As is the case with Martha, stretching her senses outward beyond the physical bounds of where the coterie is being rushed out of Fancy's, not just her office, but out of the building. She's ushering them forward out into the night. That side door exiting out onto Charleston presents them with, while there's no New York, and while it is no LA, while it is no Shanghai or Macau, where the streets are teeming with hundreds of thousands of individuals moving here and there at all hours of the day, Las Vegas really is, much like the moniker for those places, the city that doesn't sleep. People have adjusted, even those not in and involved with the kindred community have adjusted to operating during periods of the day where it is cooler, where it is easier to put up with the constant dehydration of the environment, where there is an opportunity of having some respite from the overwhelming, oppressive heat that dries and saps and pulls all of the energy for just simply breathing out of a body. In other words, it's perfect weather for kindred at all times. The living adapting more towards a nocturnal existence means that Charleston is in fact quite busy. There are 2 to 3 cars every couple of seconds. There's trucks and deliveries still happening. There are cabs and liveries making their way east and west across Charleston. There is not a full-fledged Times Square level of activity, but it is relatively bustling, which explains why the SWAT team pulled into the front using the parking lot as cover. Less chance that someone's going to intercept them or stop them or get close enough to figure out what they're doing before it is too late. What this means for Martha is it is the opposite of a sensory deprivation tank. Gritting her teeth and clamping down on the sheer pain of it all, the motion, the light, the sounds, the activity, she's able to suss out that there are more than the SWAT team stacking up. There are other entities out there in the dark, clearly focused on, hey, isn't that, look at them over there. That's the, and she knows that they are out there. She can hear the murmuring of what she feels are thoughts. She can feel the eyes clicking and slicking in their sockets, pointing in their general direction. She can hear the constant buzz from cell phones and electronic activity, as if it is an angry country of bees buzzing in her ears. She can feel the heat attempting to leach away her moisture from her dead flesh. She is the very definition of overstimulated, and she's managing to hold on so that it is not truly painful, but merely annoying to the point of full out aggravation.
Okay.
Which also means she is aware of the mildly stomach churning sense as she hears Eugene's flesh mending. It is a semi-liquid, moist, viscous schlucking and sucking and growing together like two slugs trying to suck face that she hears and understands. She also feels the heat wafting off of him in droves, because everything requires energy, even kindred mending their flesh. There is a uptick in the sheer wattage that he's putting out. She can hear all of those things happening inches, feet from where she's currently standing. And in that same regard, Eugene what is his composure?
4.
4. He is a man of iron. He has feet not of clay but of granite. He is able to hold down the pounding bass that is giving him a literal migraine from his beast kicking at the doors of his mind. His heart, which is unbeating and unmoving because he hasn't roused, is slowly picking up steam, and the pressure of his beast attempting to escape him, causing him to grit his teeth and clench his jaw against that overwhelming non-stop voice in his head, demanding to be satiated. It is tearing at the bars, and give or take a few moments, it might slip free of his control. But right now, he's able to keep a relatively calm facade, even as his skin grows warm with all the exertions of mending the damage, even as there is this unsettling, unending yell and roar of his own voice beating him across the mind.
He looks to see if anyone notices, and
You ever been in
not.
You ever been in those long car trips with a sibling or a younger cousin or nephew, and someone inadvertently has issues with their internal gas, and that look that hopefully no one heard it escape you, and you both look at each other because it just so happened you were doing it at the same time, and you both found yourselves guilty at the same time, and it depends on who is going to be the first to claim the other person was responsible. that's the moment that is shared between Eugene and Martha as she hears his flesh knitting back together, as she hears and feels the heat wafting off of him, as she just this evening has had her own beast escape, kick open the doors, explode out the walls, do a reverse Kool-Aid man of "oh yeah," ending another person's existence. So as you two make eye contact, as you are being hustled out of the academy, out onto Charleston.
Yeah. Does somebody have a car to get us out of here?
Mine's not too far away, but I also don't imagine that we're gonna be able to get to the parking lot I settled in without seeing some boys in blue.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, so it might honestly be in our best interests to just move it to a semi-safe area and try and catch a cab. Although I'm not necessarily a fan of the fact that, we'll see how it all plays out. Anyone else here have a thought as to our particulars for escaping?
Not a one.
Alright, well then, that's good enough. Fancy, lead on. I'm sure you've thought once or twice about where to go in the event of an emergency from your little place here. And with that, Ryan will follow the, I imagine, still in motion Fancy. Yep.
So, whom has the highest streetwise?
I'm sitting on a nice comfortable 2.
That's more than me.
More than me. I'm out.
Fancy, do you have any higher streetwise than I?
Let me check up.
Did anybody catch that?
I didn't catch it.
Alright, well.
I have a 3.
Yeah, there we go. Alright, Fancy's got the highest.
Alright. Would you be so kind as to roll your intelligence plus streetwise plus 5? Charleston is a busy street at all hours of the day. That extends into the evening hours when the kindred are awake and moving. That extends into this moment where the coterie is spilling out of the academy amongst all of the showgirls and show guys and the entertainment, those who have an aspiration for being successful in the entertainment field here in Vegas and beyond. The academy, Fisher Academy, has been here for generations as the underground king for developing natural talents into a marketable commodity. Those who scrimp and save and penny pinch and hustle and jive and do a hilariously numerous amount of things to come up with the funding to prepare and pay for their licensors for various entertainment agencies and the lessons here at the academy creates a huge motley. They're tall, they're short, they're muscular, they're anemic, they're light, they're dark, they're male, they're female, and all gradients in between. So the crowd spilling out into Charleston, while it attracts eyes and attention from passers-by, it is one of those almost average expectations to see showgirls or show guys spilling out. The coterie themselves are not dressed in the sequined leotards, they're not wearing the heels, they don't have the headdresses under their arm or the capes on their back, they're not leaving with bags of various attire changes and leg warmers and headbands and towels and bottles upon bottles and cups of water and various other liquids. They are dressed as they are dressed, which draws the eye. You hear, well, feel more than hear. At least for most people outside of Martha. Martha hears. Is that them leaving there? Those are targets, and the chase is effectively on. The decision as to where to go, because it's surprising that a team of special weapons and tactics that are clearly so militarized would attempt to try to sneak, would attempt to try to blend in, because there's no way that their tactical gear looks in any way at home on Charleston. Yet you see a few of them beginning to break off. They snatch off their helmets. Some of them are pointing. Some of them are trying to get back to the vehicle. Some of them are proceeding with the sieging of the academy. In other words, it's chaos. But you all have, in fact, been seen. You all have been noticed. You are targets of a potential pursuit. Unless, of course, you guys want to stay and, give as good as you get. Maybe better, considering you guys are already dead, right? What's the worst can happen on a major thoroughfare?
Do I see anywhere to hide?
Easily? Right this second? No. There are tons of places that you could potentially hide if you had the time, if you had a distraction or some other way to distract them. Because across Charleston, there's a relatively wide swath of land. There's two huge buildings right there on Buffalo Drive, but then across further north, there is a slew of homes and small businesses. It's not a corporate park, but it is apartment buildings and trailer homes and actual standing homes in the ground, and there's stores east and west along. Just to the east of where you all are, there's a taco place, there's a McDonald's, it gets busier going east across South Buffalo, heading towards, east of where you are. South across the parking lot, if you were to double back, you got just a slew of athletic fields: baseball, soccer, football. There's a mini golf course. There's a dog park. There's a ton of businesses south along Buffalo, which border the back of where Fisher Academy is. Yet, with the pursuit being joined with the two right now, members of the SWAT team having targeted you all, yelling out there to their cohorts and beginning to close on you, barking orders as if they are a group of baying hounds, it's a little difficult to escape. But if you were to make your way across Charleston, that rushing traffic east and west, because you are just west of the red light that everyone tries to beat, where 4 major paths of egress meet.
Okay. I believe you described it as the streets being relatively populated, correct?
Yes.
Then, doing a rather, I would say, silly thing, kind of attempting to immerse myself into the crowd of traveling folk on the streets and such, and effectively hide amongst them whilst traveling. Could I make my way towards that junction where I might more easily disappear? Kind of try and lead the coterie during along that same train of thought.
Okay.
If anything of what I just said makes any sense.
Okay. Are you attempting to head east or west, or are you going to try to head north across Charleston?
I vote east.
You vote east? Any other dissenting opinions? East it is.
All right. That
I'm
being
trying to find exactly where on the map we are.
so, as you all head east.
There it is. Found it.
Oh, you found it already? Look at that. Very, very good. Very, very good.
It's the cross of South Buffalo and Charleston, correct?
Yes.
Cuckoo.
So heading east over Charleston Boulevard, as you all are varying heights, weights, levels of physical activity, we're going to engage in who is sticking with Joji.
Ryan, thank you.
Sorry, Joji, Ryan. I mixed the two. I do apologize. So who amongst the group is sticking with Ryan as he takes off and tries to urge everyone to use the streets, use the crowd, as he tries to break east across Charleston?
Eugene will.
Ah, yes, my lovely red-dressed man. I refuse to accept any reality that is not you walking around in a red dress.
Okay. If that makes you happy, I guess.
Well,
Oh, it deeply.
Yes.
Fancy, even though she isn't carrying as much stuff as her students, she was dressed for work in her dance shoes and yoga pants and such, so she probably wouldn't stick out as much as the other ones. So she's gonna probably try to blend more into the crowd and see how well they do getting across the street, because if they all run across the street at the same time, it's gonna call attention to them, because it's almost as like putting a target on them.
Oh, no. From what you've described, we have the same plan. I'm not trying to sprint across the street or whatever. I'm following the flow of traffic and trying to essentially hide in the tall grass that is the Las Vegas population.
That was my read on the situation as well, is that we're just going to kind of move with people, not try to like rush through them, but move with them so that we sort of disappear in the ambient people.
Yeah,
That was my read on it anyway.
think some very Assassin's Creed type shit.
I mean,
right? No. And as I recall, my Ryan had made it in before all of this occurred, right?
I mean, yeah, I did.
sure.
You're not my Ryan.
Oh, you're talking about the puppy.
Sure.
He hadn't, but we can say that he had. We can say that he made it back just before
And he was
everything.
circling, remember?
Yes, we can say that he made it back just before all hell broke loose. He made,
Right,
it, back, he
it's
made
fine.
it back, 9/10 of the way there.
Yep. He had to do a lot of slide canceling, but he managed to avoid the zone.
I mean, it's fine. He's not terribly bad about that anyway. So I would be sticking with him. As far as this is kind of his not necessarily wheelhouse in full, but not too terribly inexperienced with his background.
You are the brains of the operation, so if you are relinquishing that, saying that he's your executive protector, your best decision in regards to where he might decide to, would he engage in his years of experience as a stuntman and creating a distraction and break off across the street, establishing a distance between you and those that are trying to get to you? Or would he attempt to stick with Ryan and Eugene and moving east across Charleston?
Let's see. He'd probably try to stick with her. She's a little baby. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's like, she needs the support muscle.
So he'd hand in hand pull her along east across Charleston? Or would he go for it, the Bonnie and Clyde escape, the Thelma and Louise leap across the canyon? Would he engage in his more practiced talent of big, bright, loud, and distance? Or would he attempt to play
probably
like a chick?
Bonnie and Clyde it.
Alright, sounds like a plan. We know what they're doing. And we know that Fancy is establishing a cordon between herself and giving Ryan and Eugene distance. The question becomes, what in fact is Martha deciding to do? As, let's just be perfectly honest, she is trying to read through the trashiest romance novel involving ice road truckers with a pounding migraine while chugging a huge tumbler of caffeine. As busy as the street is, with the heightened senses giving her a small effect of a radar sense, it is literally 100 times the amount of information that is easily too much. She smells the diesel and the ethanol, the hours old, sweated out, sprayed on cologne and perfume. She smells the hair product. She hears the sounds of brakes sliding into place or sometimes failing. She hears the record skip of people who are catching on that something big is happening. Are they making a movie? And the excitement, the thrum of just electronic interference is, well, huge. So what is it that Martha is doing? Is she trying to keep up with Eugene and Ryan? Is she trying to fall back and evade like with Fancy? Is she much like Ryan and Morgan taking off across Charleston?
I think she's trying to keep up with Brian and the others.
Okay. So, that being the case, what we have is Eugene and Ryan moving forward, establishing some small bit of distance between them and this closing SWAT officers, trying to use the crowd to disappear from sight, to obfuscate themselves from existence and blending in. Right behind them, on their heels, is Martha pulling up the rear. A few purposeful pauses and slower progress, attempting to merge and meld with the crowd, is Fancy. And then, like a bullet fired from a gun, is Ryan and Morgan taking off across Charleston, ducking and dodging through the cars that are moving east and west to try to establish a wider, longer distance between them and the SWAT team. So what we will need to see what fate has decided for you all individually. Eugene, would you be so kind as to roll your resolve and stealth? That's the same roll for Ryan. For Fancy, it is your composure plus stealth. And as Martha's attempting to keep up with Eugene and Ryan moving east, that is unfortunately the same exact roll for her. Now, Morgan, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and athletics plus 2? As you and Ryan take off like a dart, ducking and dodging, sliding across the top of car hoods and escaping across Charleston, creating the widest bit of distraction and road hazard between you and the closing SWAT team.
Have grace supply.
Yes, you will not fall. You will look absolutely gorgeous in doing whatever it is that you are ruled to do by fate.
Amazing.
Nobody. What is my hunger at currently? Because you were saying how with those each failures would count individually.
Yes, a total of 5.
Oh yeah, you a hungry boy.
He hangry right now. He hangry.
Luckily, he's got a good poker face and he is able to hold his calm, so it doesn't seem like he is where he is. It doesn't seem like he's literally about to explode the moment someone even looks at thinking about, and yes, literally just that, looks at thinking about brushing his shoe. Not stepping on it, just brushing it.
It's not allowing me to reroll this failure.
You have too many hunger dice. Those are all hunger dice because of your pool.
What's the difficulty?
As high as possible, and it is contested.
Okay.
Alright, well, in that case, never mind.
No, you've got a nice solid 2 successes. Hopefully they'll roll low. And you've got a nice solid 2 successes, Martha. So hopefully they roll low. Let's see what fate has in store for you all. We're just waiting on Morgan. Would you be so kind? 4! Oh my goodness. Ryan really is the second coming of Lee Majors and as the fall guy. What was his name in that? Colt Summers or something like that, right?
Something like that.
Look, okay. I don't know why I don't have any points in stealth, but I don't.
He's not a very stealthy person. Just kicks open a door or makes a polite threat. He doesn't go sneaking around the back. That's for the other folks, not him. Ooh, that is not fun. 6, desperation 2, difficulty, what is the highest? It is 4, so they need a total of 5. What is that outcome? Are they in fact successful? Does fate decide that you all are caught
Get fucked! Get fucked!
You all.
You are so very excited.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I rolled terribly. So seeing
Yes.
that, whoa.
Yes. And here's the problem.
You can thank my Ryan.
With you all separating and moving through the crowd and using stealth to your best to benefit, the total to bring you all in, as it were, to be hot and heavy on each of your tails was 5. For you all individually is what we're comparing that result against.
No.
So as you all make your way east, doing your best to speedily move with the crowd and establish a distance and keep your head down, and yeah, they were calling out, and yeah, they're, you know, muscular and active and also very much involved in being part of an action movie in their head. There they go over there, come on. All of that muttering and barking and braying at your heels gets closer and closer, and you realize that they're keeping visual confirmation of where you all are and pointing and yelling and attracting attention. And unfortunately, unlike New York, unlike Chicago, not only do people see everything, but they're willing to witness as well here, because a good portion of them are here on vacation. Some of them are on their way to work, and I don't want to get involved in this bullshit. That's nothing to do with me. And so people are moving out of the way as the police are rushing towards them. Oh, throwing up hands, dropping bottles, dropping not necessarily legal powders and pills and such, getting out of the way, establishing a path, a golden road to where you all approximately are. In fact, one of the girls who is nearest to Fancy literally drops her purse, "I didn't mean to steal it," and takes off running across Charleston. Unfortunately, she's not as talented nor as skilled as Ryan and Morgan, who take off like a dart. He grabs her around the waist, and it looks like the cover of some 1960s, 1970s barbarian romance, because he's literally holding her feet off the ground as he goes power sliding across the hood of some Charger, rolling in front of some truck that's barreling their way, leaping out of the way, keeping the truck from running them over, turning them into paste, going into another combat role, and taking off as if he has played professional football and is running downhill full speed. Which, unfortunately, for the SWAT officer chasing them, is far too much activity as he comes throwing his hands up, just barely getting missed. The side mirror of the truck that just barely missed Morgan and Ryan, clipping him across the chest, sending him sprawling back into the road. Drivers are honking and yelling, while on the sidewalk, you all realize that your efforts to duck, and dodge and blend in with the crowd is working anti to your purposes. You all are at a -1 as they are closing ground. People are clearing a path, leaping out of the way, dodging, and otherwise making it quite obvious that you are not one of them. The innocent, the pure of heart, the "I didn't mean to do that" line of coke. It was just there and I fell into it. It was them, officer. I swear to God, it was them. That one over there. Decisions. Fancy at the rearmost member of the 4 members of your coterie who are heading east across. You're up first. You are the closest. You will be the one who will probably be tackled first.
Oh my god, they're going to absolutely ruin that dress. Oh, I hope they can afford that.
Are you attempting to do anything besides absorb and roll with the blow?
How easy would it be to catch the lead SWAT officer's eye?
As he's barreling down on you? Pretty easy. The ground will probably hit you both first, but yeah, you know, there you go.
I'm gonna make him forget that he even saw me.
That's great. And unfortunately, in order of operations, the physical happens, then the discipline happens. So, yes. So as he barrels into you, driving you and him into the ground in what is a practice takedown of a subject, you are going to make eye contact with him.
Yep.
Okay.
Ah, yes. The soulful gaze is as you two embrace.
All right. Next in line, in regards to the escaping eastbound over Charleston, Martha, he's closing. She's closing. It is clear that she is not only a try-hard, but a do-better sort of officer. Seeing the officer who's taking down Fancy as they go tumbling forward, you know it's going to suck for both of them, because there's no one who's trying to soften the ground rising up to introduce itself. As a doctor, you know all the contusions and the scraping and the cracking that will probably happen. Based on his weight, height, and size, when they collide against the ground, there's a very good chance that at least 3-4 of her ribs are probably going to break. But that's another matter for future you all. As the officer who's closing on you is preparing to one-up her partner or associate or team member, what is it that you are attempting to do, if anything?
I'm double checking that I have my blush of life on.
Yep, nothing like fresh bruises. It'll help you blend in with the mortality as you're taken into the drunk tank.
Okay.
As she's barreling at you, Martha freezes, Martha stops, or does Martha engage in some other activity?
I'll freeze.
Oh.
Oh no. What's rule number 1, guys? Don't get caught.
It is safe to say, Eugene, Ryan, as you all hear the scuffling and the crashing and the colliding, that you are aware as to what is actually happening behind you all. Like, not quite like fish in a barrel, but very close to it. You all are being taken down. And do you all glance back to see how close they are? And yes, they are closing very, very quickly, overtaking each other like a pack of hyenas taking down the wounded lion. They are, well, clearly more skilled than one would expect.
Ryan is an incredibly perceptive individual. So I think rather than having that moment of hesitation that might end up with him just greeting a quite literally flying officer as he spears him into the ground, he's just going to take off. Now he knows the jig is up, so he's just, no.
All right, excellent. Dexterity plus athletics -1. And Eugene?
That was exactly what I was gonna do.
All right.
Just take off because this didn't work.
Well, you know what that roll is. Do so, make it as quickly and as high as you possibly can, because it is in fact contested.
There's no way for me to make this roll. I don't have enough dice.
You always have enough dice.
Ugh.
Dexterity and athletics, make it happen. You got this. Trust in the heart of the cards, Yugi. Trust in the heart of the cards. Oh.
You can always rouse?
Yes. He can't.
Oh god. Oh, you poor child.
Yeah, that's what I said. There's no way I could do that, but he said do it, so there you go.
Yeah, you got one. You got one success. You're fine.
Yeah, if the officers roll 0 successes, it's not a bestial failure.
No, it will not be.
What's worse, I don't even want to drink his blood because he's disgusting to me.
I'm just saying, but if he tackles you, you don't
Beat the
care.
brakes off of yes.
Oh God, you are in an unfortunate moment, my boy. We are both in an unfortunate moment because these fuckers have a thick ass dice pool.
Yes, relatively they do.
Yeah.
But you guys got this. I have every faith that everything will work out as you all have planned it. You all have been great about calling it thus far. So first things first. To determine how effective you are, I'm taking it that you're attempting to erase his memory to take the last few seconds from him. Fancy?
Yeah. Fancy wants him to forget she is who he's looking for, so that when he snaps out of it, she's
These are not the droids you're looking for.
try to get away from him. Yeah, basically, try to get away.
Okay. So,
That's good.
as it is a contested action in this moment with everything that's happening, we're going to see how effective, your cloud memory is. That's going to be your charisma plus dominate. Roll high. Well, now look at that. All right, so the grand total of that exchange, we'll get to it in a hot split second. But literally, as you two collide with the concrete beneath you, and it rattles your bone, causes your teeth to feel as if they've been put into a blender, and the world to wobble, and the edges of it to blur. You reach up into all of that beautiful caramel colored brownness of his eyes and find, well, a place to settle in and make yourself home. It's very nice and comfortable. You feel like Goldilocks finding baby bear's bed and baby bear's porridge, while your body feels very much like what would have actually happened if a lone teenager happened into a bear's den in the middle of winter. The difference is 2, so you will take a grand total of 4 superficial health levels, rounding down of course, before being applied to your health level, your health tracker. And while that contact is happening, Martha, you've been a member of the medical profession for as long as you have been cognizant of existing, both during your living years, all the time practicing and schooling and learning and making it through medical school and getting your doctorate and practicing and dying and finding yourself in this moment with what feels like the entire line of the Los Angeles Raiders bearing down on you. You do what comes far too natural for most. In a situation where violence of a physical sort is imminent, there's a disconnect. The mind pauses. The brain seeks escape even though the body is still there.
Okay.
As you find yourself staring up into the Las Vegas night sky, you wonder how you got here. You can feel the ruptured soft tissue. And unfortunately, with blush, you are bruising and bleeding, and you can feel the cracks and breaks of the small bones along your floating ribs. You can feel the large contusion up and down your elbow, and you know those scrapes along your back are probably, if you were living with Neeson bacitracin or some such to be treated, you know that you would look a mess. You would very much look like the victim of a beating, because that's what it is. The officer hit you, the ground hit you, you hit you. It is a mess. And your considerations of the actual well-being of the body that you are inhabiting very much is foremost on your mind. As you were accosted, your personal sanctity was violated by this lesser being. This vermin not only put hands on you, caused your shell that's holding your soul to be ruined. While that's happening, Joji, you are not a stealthy kindred in the least. You are the antithesis to stealth. You are speed and panache and charisma and bluffing when necessary and following through when you can. You are the definition of a workaday criminal. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you look far enough back into any wealthy family line, you will find a significant amount of criminal and a significant amount of criminality. Nearly every fortune of the wealthy is built upon the, well, bodies of the damned and criminal actions taken against them. All of that to say, you understand that discretion is the better part of valor, and you take off like a dart. As you break across and slip through and slip past and are nearly completely past the Buffalo Highland apartments there, just south of Charleston, across South Buffalo Drive. There's Kerwin Drive there to your left, the north side of the street. There's the dispensary you're passing, a stone's throw from Molly's Tavern, and you are seeing nothing but daylight. Do you continue hauling ass across Charleston, or do you attempt to evade, duck, and dodge through the apartments there to your south?
I think continuing on open, flat ground is not necessarily the best for me. Breaking line of sight, putting some obstacles between us is the intelligent move here, so I'll try and make my way through the apartments and lose them.
Hanging a hard right, turning on a dime, you begin to put distance and time between you and the clearly overzealous officers of someone's will, someone's law. Whether they're actually fully on duty and part of the operations of the police department is anyone's guess. But they are uniformed, and you all are in public. And at the end of the day, at the end of the night, none of that really fucking matters right now, Eugene. These fuckers put their hand on you. You already lost one ensemble. And as you bend and extend and launch, they hit you, which is a step too far. They hit you. You understand and respect the law of the land. You understand the iron jacketed judgment of a shell fired. You understand that that is the great equalizer, and there's no arguing that. Like, getting shot sucks, but it is what it is. It is God made all men, and Smith & Wesson made all men equal. You understand the value of a gun. You at your heart have always been a gunslinger. You don't throw hands, you throw lead. So there's a respecting of that. There's no respect when some other fucker puts their hands on you. When some other fucker bothers to think they can get away with that. That's the rational thought that you would have. That's the rational thought that normally is at play while you keep your distance, while you play it low and easy, because all's fine and good until someone puts their hands on you. Someone violently takes away your agency of yourself. Turning on the afterjets is the last thing you remember as the world goes a hazy red, as the darkness of your calm resolve swallows you like the La Brea tar pits did all of those predators of old. The inky blackness of the other guy, the monster in your closet, the monster that hangs out under your bed, the other version of you. The reason why you do have such a high sense of self and a grasp on that inner monster is because of moments like this. Having expended the energy to mend, you let a crack take hold. And through that crack, it oozed up, crawled forward, subsumed your reason, comfortably strapped itself into the driver's seat, and smiled at you as the world disappeared. And speaking of disappeared, you know Ryan is a competent, confident, capable man of action. In fact, he spent all of his early adulthood learning how to fight, to drive, to shoot, to run, how to take a hit, how to give a hit, how to make it look worse than it was, how to minimize the effect of damage upon the body so that it looks great on film. Being held like a child, grabbed around the waist and carried along whether you wanted to or not, you are extraordinarily appreciative for that misspent wild time of parachuting, parasailing, diving, swimming, running, fighting. Because as the major-ish intersection there at Charleston, as you will cross 6 lanes of traffic, the median, and take off, making a hard left into the apartments there on Shelter Island Way, ducking and dodging between various homes, you find yourself somewhere near Sailboat Lane in crawling under a garage door that he managed to raise just enough to not trigger any alarms and get you all inside a nice, quiet, dark space. His heart pounding loud enough to be heard from a distance of 4 feet, and his chest and cheek soaked in sweat. I know we lost him, but we're gonna need wheels. Oh, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of this area because we can outrun them, but we can't outrun radio. We need to blend in and merge with traffic. We need to take Cimarron and head north. You know, Charlie has a place just on the other side of West Cliff we can get to, and they usually don't bother those places over there. Most of them are gated.
Okay. Think anyone's home here?
Probably not.
There a door to the house proper through the garage?
There is.
Does it look like there's an alarm pad?
Oh, yeah.
Alright. She is going to take a couple moments to examine it. Assuming it's on the outside. If not, then might have to do a plan B.
Oh yeah, it's on the outside. It's from the garage into the house. There's a pad. There's a pad right there by the front door and one by the back, as well as the little noise alarms on the windows. Motion
Right,
detector in the center hall. You know, just the usual stuff.
Right. It's all standard. It's fine. All right. All right. Well, she is going to do what she can about that. Take your pick. I've got Larceny 2 or Technology 3 with a specialty in hacking.
No, that you can do when you get to their
Right.
that you can do when you get to their laptop or their desktop inside the house. But for right now, let's work on your larceny. You don't have any tools to bypass the electric, so you're going to have to brute force it. Or you can just try to disable it, which still requires a few tools, but you know.
I mean, I'm in a garage. There's probably some tools.
Yes. Let's go with that. We're going to say that this is a household of people who are actually are fairly well acquainted with IKEA and crate and barrel and the like to keep themselves squared away so that they don't clutter up everything.
Even better, it won't take me too terribly long to find what I need.
And that being the case, would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your intelligence and larceny? Because is this one of the systems where if you ground it out, it automatically fires off an alarm? Or is this one of the systems where if you ground it out, do a short to ground, where it will shut itself down and begin to reset? Or, better yet, if this is one of those systems that automatically notifies wherever the cell phone attached to it is that there's been an emergency with the alarm?
Who knows? Go with that. And there we go. Better.
Would you believe you missed it by this much? It was a total of 6 successes that you needed to subvert the entirety of the system. Just kidding. No, kidding.
Oh no!
No, that's just a complete success. You very much feel like the real life version of that guy on those comic book movies. You know that somewhere someone down the line is gonna be yelling at a lieutenant. What do you mean you can't do it? Morgan did it in a cave with a box of scraps. The system not only is subverted by your efforts. You get to the main input screen. The main input meaning that you have master access. You can reset the password. You can assign passwords. You're not sure what made you guess the numbers that you did or when you reset it and it was powering back up, but you did, and you found the master access. You have full access to the home and the security system.
Amazing. I'm just going to smile and open the door. Get yourself some water. I'm gonna go get us some change of clothes. Just roll right in.
And as Morgan and Ryan begin to replenish, to renew, and recycle themselves into a cleaner version, a less sweaty version of themselves, making eye contact typically as a sign of introduction, as a sign of spurring on for attention and interaction, it lets the other person know that you are there. And you notice them and they notice you. You can strike up all sorts of conversations and, well, situations. You haven't been this close to a police officer willingly and forever, Fancy. And all of that soft, moldable gray matter dancing around that head. Besides making him forget your face, which he's staring longingly into, questioning his moment. Sorry, ma'am. Are you alright? For him, this is go on.
It's an honest mistake, officer. Now help me up and let me walk away.
Oh, you're going to pull the Obi-Wan. These are not the women that you're looking for. What is Fancy's charisma?
It's a 4.
I don't know what came over me. And he begins backing off of you, easing himself up off of you as this yowl of pent up frustration. You can hear the ancestors of several hundred generations raising up in unmitigated bruised pride, their enmity for the world of the living echoing. You hear people gasping and running away. You hear some idiot, all it takes is a good guy with a gun, and other individuals, this ain't gonna happen again. And people are screaming and beginning to run away. You can hear the footfalls before you see them rush past where you and the officer is. And for him, this is a start of a beautiful friendship. He is going to be able to tell his grandkids, your grandkids, how you two met. He was chasing a perp and you all ran into each other. And as you lay there in the Las Vegas night, the cool earth welcoming you into this new reality of what your future is going to be, he knew that everything was going to be all right. And as he helped you up, there was another violent Las Vegas incident. Except for this time, there's not from someone's balcony or someone's overpriced hotel room. It was right there on the sidewalk ahead of you. And instead of leaping into action to protect the people rushing past and trying to scramble for freedom away from whatever all of that heady action is, he throws his body around you, attempting to shield you from Martha. Getting hit sucks.
Yes.
Getting tackled sucks more because it's body-to-body contact with something beneath you. Because that's literally what all of these kind around you are. They are demons attempting to weigh your soul down and ruin your chances of eventually being worthy of moving into the heaven of this afterlife, being able to live immortally, not just the promise of immortality, but to actually be an immortal being free of all of the sin of this world. If you were tackled by a filthy, dirty, lesser thing, how would you feel? What would you do?
Oh, great, but I'm going to try to make eye contact. And then I'm going to try to do cloud memory, because right now that seems like about my best option.
Okay. Let's see how successful you are. Should be so kind. Your roll is exactly the same as Fancy's, which is, your charisma plus dominate. Roll high.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Is that your final roll? Are you going to risk a willpower?
I think I'm better.
Playing with the human mind is a difficult thing. It takes practice, it takes application, it takes years of mastery just to make up one's own mind. Making up another is extraordinarily difficult. The ability to do so grants you the opportunity, but the practice is where the perfection comes in. And as Martha reaches up into that nearly solidified 92 IQ that has driven her into the ground, her disgust for the width and breadth of humanity only multiplies. She feels dirty with the violence and the glee at the idea of violence that's sitting there in those dark, murderous eyes. The female officer, which has driven her into the ground, would have done this in their off duty, would have needed very little provocation to reach this point of aggression. The mind that she's met with is one filled with the longing for the blood of her prey, and is longing for the thrill of violence, and is longing to drag some divine soul into the abyss. It's the very reasons for why there needs to be a separation between the kindred and the kind, why these demons need to be properly kept in their place, because they want nothing but the worst for you. And somehow, through her revulsion, Martha's able to cause the mind to stutter step in its fantasies of violence. Somehow, Martha's able to cause the last few moments to dissipate like smoke. And right as recollection of being atop a woman who is anyone's guess, was she the criminal? Was she keeping you safe? Not sure what. And then the crowd explodes in worry and concern. People begin running past as, well, an angel has fallen. A divine being is pulled into the muck. And the evil and pernicious darkness of humanity infects and invests itself into one of your coterie members. Eugene, dressed for the stage, his dead muscles bristling with intention, and you want to yell some word of good that might prevent him from doing it, that might prevent that from happening, but you're too late. You watch as it happens. And it's over all too soon. Here's the question for you, Eugene. Lost in the void, lost in the darkness, at the back of your self, in your mind palace, wandering through the emptiness that there is, just the absence of everything. Would you take the chance to attempt to wrest control, or would you allow the beast to have its due? Because while most people dread the beast and hate it and revile it, you know that there's strength in it, especially if you're able to direct it, if you're able to leash it and use it as a hound of the hunt to bring home the dinner and down the prey and keep your sheep safe. There's a use for the beast. But do you seek to leash it, or would you let it have its due?
That's a good question, because at this point, I know if I come to, I'm going to be in a world of hurt. But if I can leash it, maybe I could direct it to more of a fight or flight. So that seems like that would be worth it to me, more so than it having its due, because it's gonna kill everything until it's put down. So I think it's best that I leash it and try to get away.
All right, that being the case, we need 2 rolls from you. One, to keep down the blood it's already consumed, which is going to be a willpower roll. So give me a willpower roll, and if you get a success, you don't immediately explosively vomit up all of the stolen blood that it's managed to gulp down quickly. The second roll is going to be your resolve plus composure, and you will need a complete success to put it in a direction, to point it in the right direction. Otherwise, you will drink until you get to hunger 1. Right now, you're at hunger 4.
Okay. A willpower roll first, right?
Yes.
Alright. Is there a difficulty?
No, success or fail, unfortunately for you. Fate doesn't seem to like Eugene tonight.
No, it doesn't.
And just to prove you wrong, she says, no.
Just to prove me wrong. Okay. And resolving composure.
Yes.
Alright. What's the difficulty for this one?
Succeed or fail. Roll high, my friend. Roll high. Not that high.
Roll lower.
Lower, goddamn you!
Mistakes happen. They happen to everyone. For various reasons, at various times. Mistakes happen. There's nothing wrong with mistakes. It's what you do because of those mistakes and how you recover from those mistakes. So you spend the effort to clean up those mistakes and those accidents, to do what is right and making it right and equitable for everyone involved. Eugene doesn't give a shit about that right at this moment. Snatching what very thin bit of control he has, he realizes that in that small moment, that small window, he's taken a bite out of the officer that was attempting to drive him into the ground. His beast wholly taking over in that split second. All it takes is a crack. All it takes is a moment. And he pulls himself from divesting this particular human of their rest of their being. But just barely. And as he tears free, the flesh rends, the blood splatters, and he forces the person away. The crowd around him is screaming and reacting as if they've never seen blood before. Come on. You see, everyone watches movies. They've seen the horror films. They've read books. You've seen this before. It's perfectly fine. You get a choice. You get one action. Do you stay and fight, or do you take flight?
Knees to elbows. Knees to elbows.
And you begin taking off. Do you continue east across Charleston, or do you break north or turn south? You can always go back west and run right back into them if you want to.
Roughly where is Ryan's mom's house?
I will fucking end you.
Well, that would be southeast of where you are right now.
Let me head there, actually, because that's where my car is parked. Thank you very much, Ryan.
So you begin taking off. And attempting a one-man siege of the city, trying to establish distance as the officer is having the most painful, best moment of their entire life. They're gonna have scars to show. Oh, it's gonna be great. The pity that they're gonna get. There ain't no bath salts that made a return to the popular party circuit, but yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be perfectly fine. And speaking of fine, perfectly fine. You don't know what it is about today's society. If you were a cop and you were chasing a perp, you would have given up about 15 minutes before you got to this point, as you weave and dodge and slip through backyards, over fences, but around corners of houses, trying to stay off the major thoroughfare but still establish distance, moving south through the apartment complexes and the tracts of basically cheaply built former military homes. Ryan, is there a particular destination you have in mind?
Well, because I'm not particularly interested in taking them to either my mother's house, thank you, Aubrey's house, or my haven, I think it would be smarter, in the event that they are following me, to head as far out of town as possible before I loop back towards everything. So, you know, I'm gonna try and just hitch a cab. I just pray to God that they have, pray to God that they are taking care of their business. I believe I was heading east across Charleston.
Mm-hmm. And then you made your right, heading south through the apartment buildings and complexes there, just at the Highlands story apartment homes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll break off, try and get a hold of a taxi, and make my way up Sahara Avenue until we get to about the cross where you see Breeze Builders LLC.
Nice. So away we go. While catastrophe and chaos abound, for the vast majority of the coterie, it has been a eventful and scathing night, yet you all have managed to survive the unleashing of hell. You all have come to grips with that whatever you all happen to come into contact with this evening is valuable enough for whoever is looking for it, that they do not mind ruining a small portion, if not a large portion, of the city and the kindred connected with it. It's not quite radioactive, but it's not exactly healthy either. And as we are just coming up on 16 after the hour, let's be back at 26 after.
Alrighty.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everybody. Anybody here?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Present.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. Yes. Well, when we departed, when we took our small step away, the coterie had managed to survive and extricate themselves as best as possible from the influx of dedicated interceptors and interdictors of their present situations. Eugene heading southeast. Fancy managing to escape the immediate crush and rush of people fleeing the damage that Eugene was causing. Joji escaping south and making his way circuitously away from the situation. Morgan hiding in a relatively unoccupied home. And Martha managing to erase her moment from the mind of her assaulter. It is safe to say that the coterie survived. It is safe to say that they have a moment of respite. So, knowing that Eugene is heading directly as best as possible to reach his vehicle, which is several miles of trekking across the city, dressed as he is, away, and Fancy and Martha are still there on the sidewalk. Ryan is making his way into a cab to get places due elsewhere. And Morgan and Ryan, are calmly and patiently making themselves presentable for public consumption. What are each of the coterie members' plans for after reaching their points of safety? Eugene making it to his vehicle. Fancy heading wherever she might be heading. Ryan, much the same. Same for Morgan and Martha. What are their plans upon reaching their relative points of safety? And where are their relative points of safety?
Well, typically she would go back to the pawn shop, but that is probably not a great idea right now. So they're probably just gonna head to Ryan's.
Okay.
And my truck, once I get to it, I'm gonna try to grab a jacket to at least cover the upper layer so that from the window I would look different. And then I'm gonna go head to my haven.
Fancy, Ryan, Martha.
So-
Fancy, but
No, please take it.
Fancy would probably duck into a far enough hotel away from the scene of everything, but close enough for walking, and use one of her many alias named credit cards to check into a hotel room for the night so that she can settle and reach out to the others to let them know she's safe and then find out what the plan is.
Okay. Once I get there at the end of Sahara Avenue, and pop out of the cab, I'm going to start heading north along the underpass there until I get to that that Best Buy that's just on the corner of Charleston, and I'm gonna try and pick myself up a burner phone. Just a little prepaid cell phone, so I can get a hold of everybody without potentially doing anything stupid.
Okay. And Martha?
Yeah. I would probably about a block away and then probably call for an Uber or something to get me further away. I think I would probably go hide out at a casino for a little bit. I can throw around enough money that they will treat me nicely.
Okay. So, the Red Rock Casino is a very highly rated and less commercially focused resort. They do a lot of spa services, lots of massages at all hours of the day and night. They do a lot of slower activities, golfing, hiking, tours of their nearby desert, lots of older. You're not really caught up in the glitz and glam and the illusion of other portions of Las Vegas. It's the place where you go when you want to not have a traveling vacation where you need to go one nightclub after fine dining moment after another nightclub after all day partying after. No, it's the place where you go when you have 2 weeks to luxuriate in a place that's not your home. So finding yourself at the Red Rock, having checked in and settled in, the realities of the night make themselves known. You have inadvertently fallen prey to a very real conspiracy. Let's just be perfectly honest. While lives are cheap, purchasing police officers with enough sense of loyalty and dedication and drive as what you just experienced is not a cheap or easy thing. It is a sign literally of someone flexing their political and financial might. There is no way that the after action report for this evening would not include details and mentioning of this, that, and the other. And as those thoughts bombard and you consider what are your actual options, the journal that you took from the corpse sits there, staring at you, laughing at you, taunting you with what next.
What next, indeed? Pretty sure I had somebody text me some interesting stuff earlier in the evening. But I send them a message back saying, trying to get in touch with them.
Yes. And so we are, as they say, the game is afoot as you reach out to that contact. And Morgan, Ryan is not poor, but he's not rich or wealthy either. He has a lovely little place. Small, but well appointed, off of Popolo Drive and Periguno Drive, over in the Park Vista neighborhood. It's the sort of place where if you make just enough to not be caught in the less affluent areas, where you be comfortable, get your basic necessities met. You know, there's a lovely, well-built bed, Spartan decor, and most importantly, honest to goodness central heating and cooling. More so the cooling than the heating, but there are nights where the temperatures drop fairly low. You might want to warm things up. One of the many unknown open secrets about being kindred is that warmth, heat, if there's anything even remotely close to the need for blood, it would be that. So even during the warmer periods, it's not rare to find a kindred who has their home and their haven heated to what for others would be an uncomfortable amount of humidity. And it seems as if a bit of that has rubbed off on Ryan, because as you all pull into his garage and he makes sure that the door is closed and locked, and he slides both of the latches on the edges of the garage door so that even if someone were able to pick the lock, they wouldn't be able to unlock the door and raise it without significant effort. A small barrier, a small added bit of security. And while the drive here has been mostly quiet, you all are settling in. He's making sure that all the windows are drawn and the blackout curtains are well in place. He looks at you in that knowing way, lets you know that it is now time. After the excess of adrenaline and the activity of the evening, it is in fact, unfortunately, that time. There is a conversation that has been put off. So he settles with his beer at the table and sits his vape next to the ashtray. And he looks at you in that way that lets you know now is the time. Cracks his beer slowly, working up the courage and the nerve.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say tonight is not exactly what you had planned, right?
It's a bit of an understatement, but no. No, it was not what I had planned. You do realize that 6 years ago today, you broke it off. You wanted to keep us friendly. You wanted to keep our relationship in the nice, comfortable space that it's in. I thought it was because you missed your period. I thought it was because maybe we're getting too hot and heavy. Now it turns out it's because you were lying to me this whole time.
I mean, lying is such an exaggeration. Maybe omission.
You know, I didn't go to college. But
Funny, neither did I.
But even not going to college, I know that a lie of omission is still very much a lie. How does this work? How do you work? You got cops after us. You got strange Lestat's ruining
Kindred.
business. Kindred? Like the book
I mean,
on Oprah Winfrey's book club? Kindred? Really? That's what you... Okay.
call it tradition. I don't know. That's what they've called us forever. Or we call ourselves? I don't know. But ask away.
I don't know what questions to ask. Will a steak cause you to splatter into a pile of dust that flits off into the light, burning up, like on the movies? Do you not like garlic? Will it cause you to rebel? If I say you're no longer invited to my home, will you be forced out of here as if you were being pulled by ropes?
No.
Could I keep you out by saying you're uninvited?
No. Well, for some, maybe it's we're all individuals, more or less. Like what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another.
And all your other friends, they're like you.
Well, not all of them. So, oh god, this was a conversation I was expecting a few years down the road when you're like, I feel like I should have had my first wrinkle by now. So basically, do you want to start like at the beginning, or like just this beginning? Because there's like a whole history that I don't even care about half the time.
So Travis knows too?
Oh god, no.
Are you sure? Is that the reason why he's been such a flaming prick even more than usual?
No.
What about Meredith?
Nah. I generally try to keep it very, very quiet. Like, there are rules against people knowing we exist, because then you have incidents like people being like, I'm going to go kill everything, and yeah, it's not like True Blood. We're not out in the open. But sometimes mistakes happen, and that's when people start hunting you.
So you got people besides the police hunting you, or are the police in on this?
Oh, me personally, not really. But the police, I think it's more they're just being puppeted. Generally. I mean, like, what would you say if someone just off the street walked up and was like, "Hey, did you know vampires exist?"
After tonight?
Before tonight.
More likely than aliens.
Right, but you might think they're a little loony, right?
Normally, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's useful for, continued survival.
You know this won't work with me being in the dark, right?
Well, now.
I don't even know what I actually know. Start at the beginning. And as he says that, you all settle in for a conversation that has lots of potential downsides as well as lots of potential upsides. Because being seen, being perceived by people that almost matter or people that actually matter, it is life affirming. It's as close to love as most people will ever come. Being seen by that one, that two, maybe three people. Being honestly understood enough that all of your bad and all of your good is accepted as who and what you are. Being perceived is the opposite of what Ryan is hoping for at this moment. Luckily, no one cares at Walmart. No one cares at Best Buy. No one cares when they're out in public. It's not quite the chin down, shoulder up, high collar disappearance that you see in movies and read in books, but it is very, very real that you don't exist to most people right now. Most people are caught up in their own lives and their own senses of everything else. That's literally what it boils down to. Everyone's so caught up in what they particularly need that they don't notice nor care to notice anyone outside of their needs and their wants. So as you move aisle to aisle, blending in, doing your best to not stand out, you realize that no one fucking cares. You literally had a major issue tonight where your promise of immortality was more of a suggestion. You've had a major moment tonight where someone is willing to throw absolute oceans of money to solve a problem. So as you purchase your burner phone, lost in the sea of known unknowns that is the random humans around you, who is it that you attempt to call? Did we lose you, Ryan?
Oh, no, sorry. My headset's on a particularly annoying point right now where I have to hold my charger cord at a specific angle, otherwise it doesn't actually go. And if I hold it in the wrong angle, it actually short circuits the headset.
Oh, nice. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So basically, I'm just going to go down my list of numbers for the group, starting with Morgan, and seeing who has a phone on them right now and who I can actually contact. Because, like, Ryan obviously doesn't know who's available right now. He's just trying to get a hold of somebody, you know?
Somebody indeed. There's so few moments as a dead yet still ambulatory corpse that you could share with anyone. And a moment like tonight, a night like tonight, is normally enough to have people vacate a city, change their lives, give their lives over to God, just totally just change who they were previous to. It's a before and after moment. It's a before and after night. So connecting with anyone or everyone is a very human drive. The question is, in the hubbub, in the hullabaloo, did Morgan keep their cell phones on them? Or did she understand that, you know, you could be tracked by that sort of thing? That ping and scattershot the area, pick up numbers, and just start making calls.
Right. She probably would have kept the burner and tossed the other one as they were running.
So, excuse me. So as Ryan gets the voicemail for Morgan's normal means of contact, does he have her burner number? Or does he move on to the next person on the contact list?
I would say they probably have known each other long enough that he probably has it.
Alright, then yeah. If the original number doesn't get tagged, I will slap the burner number.
So right when it's getting good, right when the conversation is dancing on that spinning top, it could go either way. You could accidentally radicalize him and be creating a weapon that could be used against other kindred, or you could be winning him over even more so into the support and belief in you. Your phone goes off.
Ah, fuck. He'll check it. Fuck. Give me just a second. Yes, Ryan?
Hey! So where the hell is everybody? And did you all make it out? I kind of didn't look back.
Yeah, we're fine. What do you need? I've been trying to have a conversation here.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, but I suppose if you've got something better to do, I'll move along down the list.
More like explanations and revelation.
Oh, look, just slap another dose down his throat and then leave it at that.
I like this one though.
Yeah, they're all nice and fine until they get boring.
Says you.
Mm-hmm. It says he in about 5 years from now when it gets really annoying.
That's all good.
Everybody likes the pups when they're young, but nobody likes the big dogs that like make messes.
Dude, he's like half my age.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, when he shits on your floor, don't complain about it.
And as she says that, she will look over at her Ryan for his reaction to that.
Well, unable to hear really the other side of the line, there's a frown as he's piecing things together. He's not college educated, but there is a certain wary wiliness to him. And it is clear that he is guesstimating whom, or at least what, is on the other end of the phone.
Right. Anyway, I'm probably in for the night. Once you figure out like where everyone's at, we should plan a meetup for tomorrow night, like an hour after sundown.
Alright, I'll pass that news along.
Fabulous. You have an amazing night and good luck. Don't get dead.
No, absolutely, I'll try my best.
Good.
Bye-bye. Click.
Bye.
There's a moment when someone interrupts a conversation to talk to someone who's not there. You have to weigh where they rate in your life, because time is something you can never get back, and a consideration of his time is very prescient for him right now, because all of the movies, all of the books, all of the media that he's absorbed, and even remotely pertaining to vampires, kindred is what you call them, means you all have for fucking ever. He will die, and you interrupted a conversation that could. So to give you an idea as to where he's sitting, the look that he's sharing, the composure that he is very much wrestling with, and while that wrestling of one's intentions and hopes is happening for one Ryan, the phone call ends for the other. Tomorrow night, an hour after sunset, you've contacted Morgan, but there are 3 others now of this thrown together coterie who are caught up in this incident. There's no doubt in your mind that the money spent to cause whatever that was will assure several other actions take place.
Oh, damn it! Are they going to fuck with my place too? With that thought in his mind, Ryan is going to start making his way towards his shop in order to get a grasp on whether or not it's been fucking breached and cleared.
Excellent. So back to a cab, back to making his way across the city.
Yeah, I'm making another call while I'm floating around, just to not waste the time. Gonna try and get a hold of Fancy, Eugene, and then our last wonderful member while we are in transit. What the fuck? And then while I'm in transit, getting a hold of their standard numbers for the people that I know the standard numbers of, and for the people who I don't know, or for the people who I know the burner number of, I'll go for that first. I don't... Martha, do you even have a burner number, or would your character not fuck with that?
I have a phone.
Singular. All right, good to know.
Illusion, misdirection is very much part of the entertainment business. So fallbacks and multiple crossovers, making one thing seem like something else, making what it is seem like what it isn't, is very much part of the expertise that is taught at the academy. The showmanship of it all, the building the hope, the turning of the trick, and the dashing of the hope. All of those things help Fancy get through one night after the next. Help Fancy establish herself as in business, and in this particular case, help her bed down at the Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa. With her connections to various entities throughout the city and its outlying areas, it's safe to say that she's on some of the upper floors. Normally, the windows are a selling point, but she manages to have one of those suites that are designed for someone who works third shift, who is definitely going to be up and about late night. So the bedroom is without any windows. The only room without any windows. There's closets and bathrooms, but they all have those windows that provide you the opportunity of taking pictures of the great landscape and skyline of Vegas from a distance. So as Fancy's phone rings, her burner phone, and Ryan initiates contact, what is it, if anything, that they are discussing?
I'm gonna make a new order that Fancy does not carry a burner because it's a good little venture. The only number she would have is her actual landline.
Oh, so I'm not actually able to get a hold of you then?
She would probably be able to get a hold because she does like old school carry people's contacts in like a little black book.
So it'd be dependent on you calling me rather than vice versa.
Yeah. And I think he would not waste time calling her knowing the only place that she had the number was just rated. So that kind of cuts it.
Alright, well, never mind then. Rather than getting a hold of you, the attempt would have to be onto Eugene then. Hey, Eugene, do you have a phone / burner?
He does, but you would actually only way you would know it is openly he doesn't have a phone. But to keep in time with the kind contact criminal element, the kind criminals that he deal with, they have the burner phone number. If you know any of his criminal contacts, then yes, not counting your mom.
Not counting my mom. Yes, thank you for naming her as one of your criminal Thank you for. God, my computer just cut out again. Thank you for naming her as one of your criminal contacts. I feel so much better having heard that.
Well, she is.
I
I mean, she's not like my escort or anything.
I swear to God, continue down that train of thought, and there will be horrible actions in the near future. No, unfortunately, it doesn't look like I have contact with any of your particular individuals. So, not getting an answer there. On to Martha. Martha, I call your phone.
I answer.
Oh, fucking finally. Hello there. Did you make it out alright?
Yeah.
Alright, well, we're gonna be meeting back up tomorrow night around an hour after sunset. So, get your affairs in order. Stay safe tonight. Fill up if you have to. And, we'll... I guess I can bring everybody around at my loan shop. You do know where that is, right?
Gives an address.
Alright. Damn it, now I have to find a place for it. You know what? I'll find an actual address in a moment. For now, I'm just going to say, and that's the address. Remember that? Good to know. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night then. Is there anything of particular interest going on your side? It is all good and quiet.
Pretty chill where I'm at.
Alright, anything you need before I hang up?
Don't think so.
Alright, well, as I said before, talk to you later. Bye bye. Click. And with that final click, he's just gonna head on back to his loan shop and try and make sure it's not fucking booted in.
Overall, it hasn't reached that level because he's not significantly high on the list of people that should have had access. There wasn't anything led directly to his shop as of yet. Yet being the operative word. It's only a matter of time before the edges of the search and the efforts spent start turning over not just the most likely of stones, but even those unconnected with this particular slug of effort and energies and this potential detriment to the very fabric of Kindred society. Because that's what this is. It's a declaration of war. One of the many overlooked aspects of the Kindred community are the traditions, and that's domain. What is yours, and you must be treated as lord while someone is in your domain. That extends to your property, your ghouls, your retainers, your businesses, it's one of the pillars. And you all, from the best that you can piece together, have been gifted, cursed, and delivered other kindred's property and portions of their domain via secrets that prove they exist, that you exist, which would immediately trigger the tradition of the masquerade. It could very well be someone clearing the table, or worse.
Well, that's not spooky at all. You gotta love that or worse part. Truly the best news of the night.
Settling in at the casino. What is it that Fancy is doing?
Fancy would make her phone call. She would try to get in touch with. So I'm assuming by pulling out her little black book, she is going to reach him.
Alright. Getting the call on my not-so-burner phone, I'll redial in the caller ID on the newly acquired one. So effectively, while calling me, you get a call.
Just squints at the phone and switches it over, like, or hangs up and then re-picks it up as it starts ringing.
Hello there.
Well, that was interesting.
Certainly so. You have all the loveliest of company. You make it alright?
And got tackled to the ground by a lovely officer. But I made him forget that I was who he wanted and made my way to somewhere safe, so I'm staying here for the evening. So yeah, short line of the story that I guess I am considered safe. What are we gonna do now? Because this has entirely pissed me off. They ruined my place of business.
Aye. From the current plans, we're all going to be meeting back up at my loan shop come an hour after dusk tomorrow. And there we can have some less electronic conversations. But for now, I would suggest trying your damnedest to get a hold of anything of interest you might. At least that's my own personal view on this. Since they've proven very handedly that they are quite powerful, and they do not necessarily care about witnesses.
Yeah. I might just have to make a couple more phone calls this evening.
Well, I hope you have better luck than I did.
Have you heard from the others?
All but Eugene, who, you know, I don't have a fucking number for that man.
He's kind of the man of mystery. Fancies himself a bit of James Bond, I guess.
I suppose. It would be nice to actually be able to get a hold of him in a pinch, though. I'm gonna have to start beating some people up.
The man does know how to take care of himself, so... Actually... there was a lot going on right as I got up from getting tackled. People were running for their lives. I don't know what caused that, but we might want to try to figure that out. Because I have a really bad feeling.
With the hullabaloo, we might very well see it on tomorrow's news.
My slightest chance it was one of us. I know it wasn't Martha, because Martha... I know it wasn't me. I just used something subtle to get away. I don't think it was you, otherwise you would have said something. So that leaves either... the other Ryan and Morgan, or Eugene.
Well, like, what do you want me to do about it? Go back and start questioning the police?
No, I don't want that. I'm just saying, keep an ear out, because somebody might say, hey, I saw this crazy shit over there on Charles this afternoon, or this evening, or whatever the fuck that just happened. and they might describe it, and which will give you a clue as to who the fuck it was, because I'm pretty sure there's something going on besides the SWAT team.
Alright, well, I'll keep an eye out, and if I do hear anything nutty, I'll try and clean it up.
Deal. No, you have a good night. I have calls to make.
Yep, have fun. I'm going to go, find something to do.
Okay, but she hangs up.
Wait, yep, there we go.
The ending of one call. Is that the only call Fancy's making this evening?
No, the next call would be to her lawyer. She meant that shit. They broke into her building. They fucked up her shit. She is turning the law back on them. So she is sicking her lawyer on those motherfuckers. And then I think her third call would probably be to leave message with her sire, because she doesn't want to talk to him directly. She will leave message with the sire that things went wrong at her her academy. The SWAT got involved, and to avoid a masquerade breach, she just got away.
Fate is a funny thing. Her and all of her sisters and cousins.
The possibility.
This close to sunrise, there's very little chance that the Prince of Prim would be near their means of contact. Yet lo and behold, the moment you reach out to the primary line to reach them, yes.
Cursing under her breath because she really didn't want to talk to him. She'd rather just leave the message. But hearing his voice, so you might hear some things, but know that I didn't do anything wrong. And I did my best to keep the masquerade intact. But somebody put a lot of effort this evening into making a fuss in front of my place of business. The SWAT was involved. I don't know whether they got in or not because I ran. But that's going on. Somebody put a lot of muscle behind fucking with me and those like me who may or may not have gotten given one of those items.
Did you successfully destroy it?
I followed your advice, yes.
Excellent. That means you should be outside of their purview at this point. Finding out where the money came from lets you know who was responsible. You can approach them with what you know and proof that what they were looking for is no longer in existence. You no longer need to be a threat or a loose end.
So how do I find out who the money?
I understand that intelligence wasn't one of your predominant gifts, but the basic trainings of following the money should be well within your wheelhouse. You have access to local kindred who are involved in the finances industries. If you can't do so through your own retainers, then using others should work admirably well. The money.
Mead.
The money is the key. No one expends the resources necessary to enlist the aid of a SWAT team without there being a trail that could be followed. I'm glad you heeded my advice and destroyed the item so that it might not bite you or me later.
Indeed, with the amount of trouble this has caused, that was the smartest option.
There is a promising young kindred by the name of Mrs. Krieger. I understand that she has a swath of influence in the financial sector. You should look her up. You should make contact. And you should get to the bottom of this as quickly as possible.
We'll get right on it. Good evening. And then she carefully hangs up the phone. Afterward, pacing the hotel room, cursing. She hates talking to him every time. And she will look up the person he gave the name for. Not worry about that, but she told him she destroyed something he didn't.
No, you know, these things happen. And all that matters is that she's told him she destroyed it, right? That's just as good as doing it. And speaking of words versus actions, settling into your haven, Eugene, after tonight, removing the bustier and the flowered feathered headdress from the vehicle as you finally exit and make your way back home, what, if anything, is on his agenda?
First, he's gonna change it to something that doesn't look like he was from Showgirls, and then he's gonna grab some money and head to a hotel just in case, because that's two places of business that has been forcibly entered. So change, grab cash, go. Once he gets to someplace safe, he's going to make the rounds. He's going to start calling in anybody he can think of off the top of his head who from the coterie first, so probably Ryan. Then he's going to go hunting because he's dying of starvation.
No, dying, of course, being relative, considering he is in fact already dead. Reaching out to Ryan. Would he only have Ryan's shop number, or would he have another number?
Well, I feel like they're such good buddies that they would share information between each other about how to get in touch when an emergency is happening. So, he has the shop number.
And that would be the number he dialed.
Am I there to hear it?
Yes.
Picking up the phone. Hello there. Sorry, we're currently not open for business right now, but if you'll call back at an earlier time, we'll be more than happy to accommodate you.
That's it, Ryan.
Well, there you are, you fucking ghost.
Things did not go well, so I had to disappear.
Hey, so did you perform a street act or something? I was told that people were really excited down there.
I
Did you
don't
show
know.
them the
I blacked
magic
out.
hands? Oh, you blacked out. See,
no,
this is why you shouldn't drink too much.
Yes. No. I think I used the booze more than drink the booze.
Yeah, no, like,
And
I understand. You're a little bit crazy once you let the alcohol take hold. How bad was it? Like, are you gonna be in the Hall of Fame? Oh, you just don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I suppose that's a party to remember. If it draws the eyes of the police, good luck.
True. Thing is, I'm going, once I feed and I can think straight, I think I know a guy who might be able to shed some light as to what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be having ourselves a little powwow down here about an hour after dusk. So, once you clock out, head on down this way.
Will do. I'll head that way once I fill up, and then if I find information worth sharing, I will definitely share it.
Absolutely. Well then, anything else that you need while I'm on air?
Besides the obvious that you might want to not be at the shop for a while because.
Oh yeah, obviously. I'm grabbing a few choice items and then I'm getting the hell out of here.
Okay, good. Because I'm at a hotel now.
Alright, well I'm not going to ask you the name of the hotel obviously, but keep yourself safe. I'm going to do my best as well.
Definitely. I'll see you at the shop tomorrow, or
we'll see if we change locations. If we do, I'll make sure to, I suppose, try and fucking get a hold of you somehow.
You have my number. It's on your call ID.
What? Yeah, it's on my shop's caller ID. You know what? Fine, fuck it. I'll just write this down somewhere. Alright, well, Toto.
Good, see you tomorrow. He hangs up.
Click. This motherfucker.
To say the least. That's what he's aiming for.
Lol, Ryan is mad because how's your mom doing?
With the call with Ryan drawing to a quick close, and the sun closer than any kindred is comfortable with, would Eugene in fact risk it, or would he attempt to make contact with other members of the group that were part of the assault, that were part of the offense tonight?
Absolutely not. Ryan said that he contacted that there was going to be a powwow, so obviously he's going to make the phone calls necessary to make a powwow, so absolutely not. At best, he's probably going to. How many hours before dawn, give or take?
Hours. Hours?
Okay, in that case, he stays inside.
Quarter hours? He's got at least 2 hours. 0.5, 0.75. He could do it.
Stays inside.
He could do it. He's had such a relatively lucky night. He's managed to beat the odds. He should probably keep rolling with his good luck, don't you think? Risk it big.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's going to stay in bed and suffer. Only touching his back.
But is it to suffer him alone in a room away from all of his lovely, normal trappings, away from all of his semblances of comfort and safety, risking his very promised immortality in a place where he has never been before?
First and foremost, make sure the windows are covered so no sun comes in. And he closes himself in the closet to make sure no sun comes in.
So I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page. As the dawn threatens and everyone dies for the day, everyone making themselves as comfortable as possible, we will be treated upon the next visit with this particular coterie to Eugene exiting said closet, correct?
Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. We're with you 100% of the way. I knew something was up when you were wearing that red dress.
So he's been in the dress and now he's in the closet. So yeah, his life is definitely taking a distinct downturn.
I wouldn't say necessarily a downturn. It's just a little loop-de-loop.
You know, be your most authentic self. It's fine.
Yeah.
Attempting to leave us with some measure of the coterie's actual success. Them actually beating not just the odds and statistics, but for the first time in recent knowable memory, the house did not win. The items were not returned. The hounds sent coursing the fox did not return with its carcass. For the first time in recent memory, those with the deck stacked against them managed to leave the premises in relatively one piece. And as each of the coterie members takes what comfort and solace they can from the evening's events, making sure they are safe as their paranoid minds would allow, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode and see you all next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Absolutely, and thank you. I believe I was just a few successes away from getting my ass tackled to the ground too.